Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome to another stream. What am I doing here? Okay, that did work. Oh, I want it to work. Or whatever, let's do it like that. Alright, welcome, welcome. So yeah, today I want to fix the terrain generation first. We will do one quick check first because I had an idea yesterday after the stream. When I was already basically going to bed, it's always nice to take a little bit of like a break, and then sometimes you get like a good idea from that, just not looking at it. And if that doesn't work, then we will definitely do the... I mean, we eventually have to do a debug view for the tour, like for the... for the octree anyways, but if we can avoid it, I would want to avoid it. So let's see if that works. So where we were yesterday is basically here, but I still would want this to be here. Okay, that didn't work. Ah, that kind of works-ish. Not really. Whatever. So yeah, we have this issue that our sphere sometimes, right? That we have like a issue with like... I thought yesterday it's synchronization. I still kind of think it is. But as I said, all the barriers that there are, I was like thinking maybe this is wrong. Because this assumes, well, we had, sorry, I did like one small change. Well, we had a memory barrier and a barrier here. But I think those are only for the current work group. And as we have like a lot of dispatches in the bottom layers of the octree, maybe that assumption doesn't work anymore, that this will happen as the last step. So let's try that. It's a little bit overkill. I guess we can do as well if... Nah, no, let's do that. Let's keep it like that. We can always optimize it later. So let's look at that. Okay, that maybe fixed it right away. That would be quick. Let's restart. Okay. Well, that was a quick one then. I mean, yeah, that is basically how it will look, right? And I see like this here. I think I know what that is. It's that we have one missing piece of the algorithm for extracting the mesh. So I think those holes potentially come from that. I would want to see if that is maybe the case. So let's... If I'm correct or not on that. If I go here... Oh god. Did it crash? No. If I take a sample here, I want to see the mesh here. I'll actually VS out. Okay, that's hard to say. But no, actually, I think it is happening what I think it might be. So, okay, yeah, that seems to be the case. So, we are lower divided here than here, right? Like it's finer on this side than on this side. And then we get like cracks here in between, where it's like going from fine to denser. It is a lot of triangles. That's almost 2 million. But I mean, have you seen how smooth it looks? It's like the smoothest sphere there is. And like the hard cut as well at the bottom, it's perfect. It's exactly how I would want it. Like in terms of yeah, the resolution. We can tweak the resolution. Don't get me wrong, that's not the final one, but we can go nuts, it seems like. And that's still like 64 kilometers big, right? It's just that we don't have that resolution out here. Well, it's exactly. But it kind of needs that, right? To make it like a nice sphere, right? But we can tweak it. We can tweak it. There is no way... I mean, there is not really anything limiting. But then we fixed it. So the issue was really just that we had this here, which probably doesn't work when we have a lot of dispatches. Well, when we have a lot of work groups running, because I guess the 0001 finishes before the other work groups. So then it writes in here whatever it has currently in there, which is wrong. So by just making that every thread always updates it, and we just take the max, which anyways already is atomic, it seems that this fixes it. Then we can tweak a little bit the sizes here, right? So we could, for example, say, how about we do 16 here already? That's already quite a lot, right? Let's do 16 here as well for now. Then the sphere will probably not be as smooth. Yeah, here you can see already that the shadows are a little bit worse. Because it's probably not... But I mean, that's still fine. But yeah, we have the bigger gap here, where we still go probably from resolution to resolution. So we still have that issue, where the octree basically decides that it's a different resolution. It's probably this one. So if we take that one as well to 16, so if all of them are 16, maybe not, because it might be a thing as well with the... Okay, no, yeah, that fixes it, right? So that's the issue, that we have different node sizes for the octree, and there's one key piece of the algorithm currently missing that would stitch that together. So how many triangles is that now if we do that? Because in theory that's Still quite good resolution, right? Okay, I mean, that's 200,000. That's basically nothing, right? So in the distance, I think we can live with that, right? Because if I go away, like, to here, then you... I mean, we probably still have to fix the normals in some way. But besides that, it looks pretty decent. Not quite sure what happens with the normals here. Actually, that would be interesting to see. Oh, sorry. What's the word, normal? I mean, that looks pretty fine. It's probably really... We have just... Oh, god damn it. What did I do? Oh, that shading is like... Render dog is crapping itself a little bit. Eh? What am I... Whatever. I mean, it might as well be... No, it's not this, right? Because... It's weird triangle shapes here, and then here it's nothing. So here is nothing. Why are you so fully lit? Might be as well something in the code of the lights, right? It doesn't necessarily need to be... Is that the selected one here? Does that match? No. But that's weird that we have here a full light and then here nothing. It's a bit sus. We can maybe do pipeline check. Can I not debug that one? Okay. Debug. Ah, I can. That doesn't really interest me. Forwards to cursor. Normal. Where is it? Where is my... I cannot see that code or what? Okay. That will be a little bit of a pain to debug, not gonna lie. Oh well. Do I really care that much right now about that? Not really. Could as well be that something because... Are we below the surface? No. What? Okay, no, we are not. Ah, but it's quite consistent. But the normals look a little bit busted as well. I want to see that one now. Well, actually, let's do this one. And debug. Instruct word normal. That one is a bit weird, right? I mean, it's still mostly... Now that looks kinda like a weird normal. Doesn't look correct. That normal. For what it should be. Where is my... So that normal looks right? But the other normal, like, maybe it's something with the normals of the noise or something like. Do we still use the noise? No, right? How do we do that currently? Sphere, plane, and then we get the union. Oh, but there's as well. There is as well. Where is the normal? This normal is wrong. The question is, what should the normal be? Because I don't think I get an intersection normal, or? How do I interpolate? Get average of two normal vectors. But is that the same thing? I mean, we can try. That plus edge crossing 2 normal. Divided by 2. And then normalize. Oh, I guess we can just normalize it as is, right? Do I need to divide it by 2? So normalize will do that anyways. God damn it, where was that? So here we do v1 plus v1 minus v2 interpolated and then normalized. Okay, yeah, that is exactly what we would do as well here. Just that here we don't really do that. We basically get the yeah, I mean I think it might be correct actually. I would need to calculate that out in my head. Well, that doesn't do it right. We need to do here a space so that we generate that shader new. Then we get, of course, a shader error. Because why not? Edge crossing 2. Let's see if it fixes it. Doesn't look like it. I mean, it made it a little bit better, maybe. It made it a little bit smoother. Maybe. Where else do we have a normal? Oh well, and then this. XYZ. We don't want to normalize. We don't want to normalize the other stuff, right? We don't care about the fourth coordinate. Still not quite there. Although, shader reloading now was working in that sense where if it's only a header and not directly the shader, it doesn't recognize it. Because what the shader compiler currently only does is it checks this version with this include here, but it doesn't actually include the file and check if that included file changed, which is a feature on the list of the to-dos. We need to verify that none of the include files changed. So if you do an include, if I do a change in the header that's included, I need to manually do it. which is unfortunate. Is that R the numbers? I think actually that would have been it, but it seems like it's wrong. Yeah, I don't think it needs to be that complicated. I think I just need to create hashes. Because I already know that there's an include anyways. So I just need to compile those basically. Or like hash those and then save that along with a shader. It's not too difficult, but I just didn't have really the motivation to do it, let's put it that way. Don't see it currently necessary. Yeah, I think something is wrong with what is if we do here a vec or just like that, right? Is then this really are those the ones that basically are broken? We could as well clear the shader cache, but that takes longer. Okay, no, those are actually not it. But what we should verify maybe is if I do that, is that then if I again I don't know what I want to do. Let's remove that. Okay. So I'm wondering, is the mesh maybe at least the normal more correct? Oh god. Because I mean it clearly here. Let's go full on here. First of all, I would want to see the mesh viewer. Those are the correct shaded ones, right? It has a word normal of basically pointing more or less into the Z direction. I mean that looks more or less the same. So in my mind it should be the same and it should work, but it clearly doesn't. So the word normal is pointing. Maybe in that case we should. I mean, maybe we should always recalculate the numbers. Wait, maybe. Hold on. When we do that cubic or merging squares thing here, where we set the normer, Yeah, I think that normal is probably still wrong. But it seems like maybe that doesn't even happen here. Because even if I did the VEC 4, didn't really make a difference, right? Can do that. Just to be sure that it's recompiled. Okay, I mean that definitely breaks more stuff, right? Because that breaks like it all, so that definitely is the case and it happens. Yeah, so now suddenly all of them are broken, right? Because... Okay. So I would say potentially that is better. But I don't think that's valid. I mean, maybe we shouldn't do that. Although, I mean... Ah, well, we should as well make the shader changes. I mean, that definitely already improves it quite a bit. But it's still a little bit weird here. But it's a little bit smoother, for sure, in most of the cases. Let's not... Alright. Maybe I push that for now already so that we get a little bit cleaner workspace again. Even though it's like a heavy work in progress. But it would still probably be nice to get a little bit out of the way again. Because we accumulated a shit ton of changes. So let's see, while that one we can discard. The edit, I think we can leave out for now. This one, I definitely don't want to push it with this. Any other ugliness here? Except for the most obvious one, which is the... which is like the sample function here. I think it's fine. So we can stage that one, we can stage that one. We can stage that. What did we do here? Oh, I marked it as const. Yeah, whatever, let's include it. Terrain panel. Yeah, let's do it. Why not? It's disabled, but better be safe that it's disabled. We will push that later afterwards. This one I'm not sure if I want to push. And this one as well, I'm not sure if I want to push. Let's leave those out. That one as well. That's the Tracy, which we should as well get into the version sooner than later. Alright. So that one is probably fine. So all those command buffers I have to rethink a little bit if we want to have that or not. So that one is definitely not bad. Yeah, whatever, we can push that. We don't need that for now. Volume component. What is that even? Ah, it's the on volume loaded. That should be removed anyways, but let's move it in. Because I think we have, yeah, the mesh rendering down here. It's all very, very heavy. Boop. Let's remove that. Which I think we don't even need that generate mesh path anymore. So we can actually most likely think of removing that. So the volume terrain system, let's push it as is. Ah, I added that and it's not even used currently. So let's not push it. I think we're not even referencing that. Yeah, that one we probably need. Okay, if you say so. So that one, yes. That one, yes. Ah, yeah, because we split it, right? Mm-hmm. Terrain word chunk system. Volume model. Module. This one. We add that one as well now. Okay, now it's only the remaining stuff with the buffer. Where I think we can remove that stuff again. So I think we don't need that one. Hopefully. And I don't think we need... that one. And I think that's fine. But let's find out later. In a second. And then command buffer. We basically get rid of that. We get rid of that. Get rid of that. And I think I would probably want to get rid of the barrier altogether as well. What we will do is volume word system. All right, so we dispatch here. And let's not do that barrier, but we do an ocg GPU buffer. And then this one goes into indirect read. That one goes into read. That one goes into shader read write. That one goes into write. So that I think should be the correct ones. Those I'm not sure if they are correct. Hello Capuchman, it's going good. And then we transform them to shader read. And then here, octree leaf. We don't need that. We don't need that. I think we just need that. And that should hopefully be good enough for synchronization. If not, we can always go back with a global barrier, because I think the global barrier is more or less what we worst case need. Alright, where that was a mistake. Okay. Cancel. It's going very, very good. You can see it in a second. We have a valid 64 kilometer word, which is beautiful. Well, unless I killed it, which as well might be a good thing. Great. How did I manage that one now? Was it really the barriers that are removed now? Because I assume we are running that, right? Okay, yeah, we are running it. But we are empty. Well, unfortunate. Really? That kills it. That's very sad. Oh, well, maybe I need to actually wait. Maybe here we might want to move that one to shader read. Shader right. Right. Yeah. That one to indirect read. So it's this one, right? And those two to that. And we can do shape. That's fine, I think. Maybe that's already good enough. I'm not sure. Maybe I have a render graph. I have a render graph. Okay, yeah, that was it. It was just the first one that was missing. We have a render graph. Everything here is in a render graph. Data render graph. This is my render graph. So it's already data driven. Which is even something that not a lot of render graph implementations do. That one is because this runs outside of the because this is not a shader that should run every frame, right? And currently the render graph doesn't have those kind of nodes currently that run only once. It would support it because we have render graph task. Is it task? Yeah, we have the is enabled, which you can toggle. It's queried every frame. So if you say my node is not enabled, then it doesn't run this frame. So we could use it with that. But this is like the mesh generation, which is like something on demand. So I think I want to keep that outside of the render graph. Because the render graph should be the thing that runs every frame, right? And this doesn't run every frame. It's basically you edit the terrain with a brush. So I think it should be on demand. Yeah, that's pretty nice, right? That's a ImGUI extension. It's called ImGUI Node Editor or something like that. Yeah. So this one. It's a little bit outdated. You might need to patch a couple of things. I had to patch something. But it basically comes more or less with like the Unreal look. More or less. You have to do it a little bit yourself, but yeah. And I didn't fully take the Unreal look. But it's very close to it, right? It's still very Unreal-like. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty nice. I'm really happy with it. Those nodes were like pain though. Like those because yeah, those are like not in the library, right? I have to. You basically just get a node graph UI. The node graph itself, you have to code yourself. And those nodes are definitely not out of the box, those reroutes. But my GitHub is online, right? So you can look at it how I did it. It's not rocket science. And then we have the shader graph as well, which is kind of nice. So this is the shader graph, right? And it's basically the same thing, just what Unreal does, for example, with materials. So I call it as well a material, and then this is our tree-planar material. Not quite sure when this changed, that it doesn't align nicely anymore, but yeah, whatever. So yeah, this generates a shader. So basically, once you save everything, is it here? Open, yeah. Oh, well, that didn't work. Cool. Well, is it here? No, right? Because I don't have it. Oh no, I do. Data materials shader. So then it generates this shader. With like the like node IDs here, so that you know which node produced this, basically. Yeah, that one, right? It's like nice. I don't know when you missed that, but yeah, it's already quite a long time in since the shader graph, like the first version of the shader graph was done, more or less. I mean, this is new. I changed like those nodes, although they are a little bit buggy because they still have a name. Usually they shouldn't have a name anymore. But yeah, if you do an addition, it just looks like that now. So it doesn't have a name anymore. I think scale as well. I think scale has as well no name. Yeah, scale has as well no name anymore. Although I thought I did a multiply sign here. Maybe not. Maybe I didn't do that. But yeah, we have as well the absolute, right? Which it has the absolute sign. Do you use a deferred material technique like visibility buff or something similar? Do you mean for lighting or what? Why is that broken suddenly? Ah, I can select links but not nodes. Interesting. Okay, well that's a bug. So if you mean lighting based, I use a forward renderer. Basically clustered forward rendering. So if you look at this frame here, I mean, we can take that one. We have the light clusters which get updated. Yeah, but it's like the clustered forward rendering, right? So a little bit more optimized. Or like a lot more optimized. It's the same thing that they use in 2016's Doom. Yeah, so basically we build... That's the 2D version, which is not that optimal. That one is called tiled based rendering or something like that. Or yeah, tiled shading forward plus. That one is like 2D. It has the downside that it produces like those long cone-like shapes. Which is not that optimal if you have like high depth in the scene. So what the cluster does it is basically it adds another dimension. Not really. I wanted to try it out. I don't have any... I don't have any preference. I thought this one is nice to try, and it's... The benefit of it is you have more freedom with the materials that you can use right away, and it basically supports translucent objects and stuff like that as well, a little bit easier than in a deferred renderer. But maybe I will change to a deferred renderer eventually. I have no idea. Didn't really plan that ahead yet. I just think it's pretty nice how this works and how it scales for now. Yeah, sure. Where is my stream? Oh, that's that one. So yeah, I think it works out quite nicely. But every time I read stuff about it, it's always like the two camps. One is like saying, oh no, never do use forward rendering. It's slow and bad and whatnot. Yes, you do. For this one, you kind of need a depth pass, yes. Not necessarily, but it helps. I think actually currently I don't use the depth pass, to be honest. Because you just put your lights into the clusters, which has nothing to do really with the depth itself. It's position based of the light sources. But the depth pass helps. But you don't need it, as I said. In all the shaders down here, there's no depth texture used. Or no, actually, yeah, no, it is used. Never mind. Yes, sorry. Yes, yeah, you need it. Yes. Yes, you need it. Yes. To find out the depth of your object so that you can find the cluster. Yes. Yes. But I mean, that's the same in a deferred renderer, right? You have always a depth pass anyways in a deferred renderer as well. A depth pre-pass. I don't think there is any system anymore like that doesn't use a depth pass in some sort of way. And the depth pass you sometimes need for like some post effects as well. It's sometimes useful. Alright, so let's see. We wanted to, well, we have the sphere running, right? Yeah. So WhatsApp didn't see that one yet. We fixed our issue. With the visibility buffer, you only have one geometry pass. Okay, do you have a source for that? Like a blog post or anything? Or I would want to read that. Now you made me curious. Okay. I mean, rarely the case that you aim for low poly geometry anyways nowadays, but I mean, yeah, that's still good to know. Okay. I will bookmark that. And I will read that after the stream. Thank you. I'm as well looking, I mean, not that someone has to give me that now, and I have some ideas that I would want to try already, but I'm still looking for a technique how I would do my shadows. Because, yeah, I'm not sure how I would want to do shadows yet. I don't really like... do I need compute barriers there? I don't really like the classical cascaded shadow maps, but maybe I just have to do it. I don't know. Do we have the compute barrier here or what? No, so maybe we don't need that. Or did I have that compute barrier in Vulkan command buffer? Yeah, I thought about ray tracing. That was the thing I would want to try, probably, like fully ray traced shadows, but I don't know if that's feasible. But I guess it should be nowadays, right? Because I mean, in Snowdrop, the whole GI was ray traced and most of the shadows were ray traced. I mean, they still had the CSM as well, but the distance shadows were all ray traced because the CSM has like a limit, right? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That's something on the list of like next features probably once the terrain is done, which there is still a lot of stuff to do for the terrain. Don't get me wrong. Command buffer. Do we have command buffer here? A compute barrier as well? Yeah. Still don't know. Do we actually use that somewhere, the global barrier? Oh, we do. Oh, that sounds a bit sus. Yeah, ray tracing is pretty cool. You're gonna have fun implementing it. But yeah, I mean, probably. And it's on the list, so... And I mean, again, I'm not really that versed in ray tracing, so I don't know if it's feasible or not in terms of like reusing. But once I have like ray traced shadows, do I get like GI? I mean, not for free, but can I not do like the same thing and then use that for global illumination as well at the same time? I'm not sure. Maybe that's garbage and it doesn't work like that. But that would be the dream. But ray tracing is really not really something I mean, yeah, it was in Snowdrop. I looked at the code a little bit and then the shaders, but never really had to work with it. That was like a different guy taking full ownership of that. So I removed the compute barrier. I wanted to see if that compiles. Why would you think it's scary? Just curious about that. So this compute buffer barrier here. Do we need that? Probably not. Because we have those barriers anyways here. Alright. And then let's do the test if we are synchronized correctly. Let's remove that flag, and if it doesn't flicker, we are synchronized with the shaders perfectly. And we are. Oh, but the frame rate is actually, yeah, it is a little bit slow, right? So with that mesh, you can see that, I mean, I don't know if you can see it on stream. Yeah, on stream it's not that noticeable, but on my machine you can feel that it's not 60 FPS anymore. Let's see what RenderDoc says. But I mean, I'm not too surprised. Actually, it says that it's 60. Huh. Doesn't feel like 60. Because I can see it like chunky a little bit, but it says it's 60, I don't know. Doesn't feel like 60. Yeah, that's true. That's true, they got a lot better. But then again, I'm still not a fan of AMD. I have an AMD card, but god damn it, I'm not happy with it. Oh, let's clean that up. Let's clean that up. The 9070 XT. Wait, which one do I have? Ah, the 7900. What do you mean with how so? What's up? How? Why I'm not happy, or like more? Well, where do I get started? So every time first of all, I cannot use Nsight anymore, but that's more like an NVIDIA thing and not an AMD thing, right? But Nsight is, I think, one of the best graphics debugger. So that is one downside, and the tools that AMD provides are not as close, or yeah, in terms of like usability and what they offer. The AMD profiler and debugger is garbage compared to it. So RenderDoc is better than what AMD provides, in my opinion. And RenderDoc is great. I'm not trying to downplay RenderDoc there, but the Nsight is really amazing. And then, so if we go to my beautiful noise suppression, I cannot enable this. Every time I enable it, it just disables itself again. And every time I patch the driver, I can enable it again. It works for 2 or 3 days, and then it keeps disabling itself again, and it never works. And I have no idea how hard it can be to have GPU accelerated noise cancellation. Because on NVIDIA, I never had any problems. It just worked. It's a noise suppression for your microphone. So, for example, for streaming, right? It would be nice if I have a GPU accelerated noise suppression. So it filters out a little bit like the background noises. And there's CPU versions of OBS, but they're not as good. And then there is NVIDIA Broadcast, I think it's called, which is the NVIDIA version. But that, again, only works with AMD, NVIDIA cards. Actually, I don't think they have that much latency. That's the whole thing about it. But yeah, it just doesn't work on AMD anyways. So, yeah. Then sometimes I can't open that app. It just doesn't start. But yeah, what can you do? But then again, on NVIDIA 4070, my engine doesn't work, and I still don't know why. So NVIDIA has its problems as well. So yeah, there's that. So we don't need that. I mean, we can push that. We can push that. That we don't need. I should definitely make the Tracy implementation nice so that I can submit it. Yeah, let's submit that even though it's not working, but fine. Command buffer, what is that? Was that the Tracy stuff? Yeah, it is just the Tracy stuff. Never mind. Alright, so submitting first working word-sized oak tree for terrain. 64 kilometers. With a lot. With static load. We can push that to the stream, but So just that we don't lose it or something like that. But yeah, it's definitely not final, and we will keep working on it. Nice. So it's not just my engine that crashes. Great. Perfect. That's what I wanted to hear. Alright, so with that out of the way, I should have built maybe before, but it's fine, it works. With that out of the way, let's try to bring back the editing first. And then once we have the edit, we can take a look again at the octree, because we need to update the octree every time. Well, first of all, when we do the edit, we need to update it anyways as well. So for that, we have to probably look at that anyways already. So maybe it like goes hand in hand. But we need to update it if the camera moves. We need to change our octree structure so that we load different lots. Yes, the sync issue is fixed. And it was something very stupid, well, as usual. And I've learned something new. I still need to read exactly what it is, but I have a good assumption what it was, or like I know what it was, and I have a good assumption of thinking why it happened. So the issue was, I think I don't even need that. So the issue was that we had down here basically the same block here with the memory barrier and barrier. And then we had here a dispatch for the invocation ID. And I was under the assumption, stupidly, that this blocks until every dispatched work unit is finished. And then we go in here and we do this once. But that's not the case. This, I think, only blocks the local work group. So once the local work group was finished, the first instance went in here, set its atomic count, and then we never set it again, even though more work groups were coming in later, because yeah, it was fully saturated. So it couldn't work like that. So doing it like that, it's not optimal, but I mean, again, this whole shader is not very optimal currently, but it's functional, and that's the biggest part right now. And we will try to remove the atomic stuff and optimize it later, but yeah. So that was the issue. Just setting that atomic max all the time, because it's a max operation anyways, but we might do useless operations here now. But what can you do? So all of that is good enough, and then we can run it, and that works. And yeah. Yeah, that as well is nice, so that we don't need to use the normal buffer SSBOs, the normal SSBO buffers, but we can still use device addresses. So we don't need to do that, because yeah, that was the first. But I think that would have not even shown up anyways in like the validations, right? Because how would it know that I don't want that? That was not a wrong validation thing or anything like that. So yeah, currently we do 16, 16, 16 here, right? For those node sizes. Which probably was a mistake for me to submit like that. And then close to 50 meters we do 0.1. I did those in the same sizes, because as you can see, if I do... Let's do 32, 16... Oh no, let's do actually 0.7. Nah, no, let's do 1. No, 8. It's fine. 4. And then let's go super low in the close-up. then we can probably see it again. Because the mesh algorithm that I currently use, it's not perfect, as you can see, because there's one critical step missing that I didn't implement yet. Because we have an octree, there is a transition from here to here in terms of the resolution of the octree nodes. And there is a critical step that basically patches those transitions that I didn't do yet. So on the octree transitions, we now have like some gaps potentially. So that's why I did the nodes in the same size, because then we don't have that issue. But yeah, I think it's fine to deal with that later. It's a minor thing and I exactly know where it is. I just didn't implement it even in the C++ version. I don't have that logic. Oh, that's pretty nice actually now. Now that I fixed that with the normals, that's actually... Okay. I mean, we still have some bugs here, but they are by no means that extreme as they are in the low resolution. But yeah. I'm not quite sure why. Pointlet. Ah, because the pointlet is... Yeah. Wait. Why is it... The pointlet is still a little bit weird, huh? That it's here, but not here. That's a bit... That's as well. That's very sus. Now that I think about it. Let's look at that in RenderDoc. But give me a second. I need to change music. That one makes me crazy. Alright. Then let's do a quick check just in RenderDoc. Because I'm not quite sure why that would be like that. So I would want to know why, for example, you don't get any light and the other one does get light. So the word normal is up, which makes sense. And then we have a word position of that. Then we can take this one. Do we maybe have a weird word position? No, the word position looks fine. Or 35, 9. Looks fine. It's just that the normal is different. Wait, is the word normal actually... Oh yeah, no, that is fine. Yeah, I'm not sure. That would go into the BRDF and then lighting calculation. I don't think I want to look at that now, to be honest. Not sure if I want to go there. I mean, I guess we could do calculate point lights. We have that here. Light to frag pause. I mean, that's basically the same. It's just that just that the normal is different, but that shouldn't matter. But the N is probably either the N or the V. Not sure which one is which. It's probably different. Yeah, so this one is, I think, the normal. Where does the N come from again? Yeah, it's the word normal, normalized. I mean, still, that should be fine. Do we have it actually? Do we have... Hold on, before we... Yeah. Depth. Do we have the terrain in here? That looks a little bit busted. That looks very weird. What is the depth pre-pass? It takes an in position in normal and the model matrix. Okay. Is it the same what we do for the triplanar shader? So the vertex in position in normal. Okay, yeah, that is fine. And I do hope that in the depth. Oh, well, that is probably an issue. Because we still had that as a dependency, right? Model matrix. I mean, that is definitely not good. Still weird. Pipeline state. Okay, so that's at least an identity matrix now. That's still a bit... That's still bizarre. Is it that we... let me do one thing. Is it that we don't have... So first of all, I would want to see, does this take actually all the correct data here? That takes the view matrix. Okay, and that takes the near and far. Perfect. So that at least is correct. And then let's go to scene editor. All the way to the bottom. And let's make that 1000 again. Let's see if that makes a difference. Maybe it's a precision issue in our depth buffer that it looks so weird. So at least that now cuts it off, right? Let's see how that looks here. Does that now look fine in the depth pre-pass? No, that's still very much broken. I wonder why. I don't remember that being like that. I mean, it has it. But everything is like that depth. It's kind of weird. Maybe the depth buffer is fine, I don't know. But yeah, that definitely is a bit sus. But mostly I'm confused about this part, because the other part, I do understand that this is how it should be. This looks fine for a point lad. This doesn't, this is definitely not fine. Let's bring the spotlight. So where is the spotlight here? Okay, I mean that looks fine. But that again does look a bit... Shouldn't. What is that? Oh, not that. Ah, here. Oh no, okay. It's here anyways, okay. Cool. So that works. I think the point light is wrong. Point light shouldn't be here. Okay, so that's a little bit better. But yeah, that's only better because we limited the range. Okay, so that works. It's just that the intensity maybe was... Like, yeah, there's something weird with the point light, never. Definitely. Still something weird going on with the point light, but it's fine. Alright, so let's get to the extra thing we wanted to do, which is the edit. So I think the depth buffer, it just looks weird, but it's fine. Otherwise some other stuff would work as well. So let's go to terrain panel. And we will do it in two, or maybe in 3 steps or 2 steps. Well, actually, before that, maybe we should try to terrain volume chunk system, because what we currently have is here the shader stuff, which is probably not that nice. So let's do volume module. How would we want to do that? I probably want to have the... So we definitely want a shutdown here. And then the only question is, how do I want to handle that? I think we do an if, or not necessarily actually. Probably have that always. Terrain Or maybe we have it in the system. Maybe we have that as a system. I'm not sure. I mean, we could as well have it on the volume terrain settings, maybe. It here? No. Then it's probably in this one. Yeah, here. Maybe we do that. Maybe we have here buffer handle. Well, not buffer handle, shader effect handle. And we move them here. Or we actually... I have a better idea than that. Volume terrain system? No. Volume bird chunk system. That was it. So those three I want to get away with and take away. And then we have here a struct volume generation. Well, it's basically that. And now we go here. Well, no. We go here. Why do we still have it here? It's a bit questionable, right? I think this system kinda dies now. I think we don't need that anymore. Or we move it all here. So it's this word chunk system, right? Maybe we move it over. And move it here into the volume terrain system. We get rid of that. So that will be a little bit of... What do you want to tell me? No, just kidding. There is a little bit of commented code here and there, not gonna lie. We will try to clean that up now. Volume... that one. We need to take this one out. And we can delete that. Save that. Go here. And have... I think we don't need volume here. It's volume terrain settings component, so it's already in a volume. Because why not? Although we then have to adjust that, which is a pain. But let's do it. Because why not? Do I really need to have that? Can I not? Maybe not forward declare it, never mind. Alright. So we have that. Oops. Cool. So we have that, and then we go to volume terrain system. So that's terrain settings components. And then we go here. That one will be just terrain runtime component. Volume terrain chunk. Let's get rid of that. All right. We can get rid of all of that crap here. Init terrain flag. We already have that up there. But those we still might need. Me or what? So I think we can get rid of that. Then that is this. That. The runtime component, I'm not quite sure if we need there, but we will still do it. And then here, this is the system. Let's remove all of that for now. So we do this first, more or less. And then we do the rest. Oh yeah, that is basically, that is true. That is fair. Terrain settings, terrain runtime, terrain word octree. Is that not what it should be? Where? Hold on. We have two systems in here. God damn it. Alright. So now that makes a little bit more sense, but we will actually move that a little bit into functions. So the first one is the void create buffers. And we give it the graphics API. And we give it the terrain word octree. As well as the terrain runtime component. ADM was how long ago? Good question. Next question. So those are buffers that we want to create. Do we really need to call it component? Terrain mesh. It's basically what it is. The count of the chunks we will look at. So then we have here the constants, which is what is happening?